Well, if you're wondering when Georgia's going to have its first night game of the season, wonder no longer. Breaking news today on Wednesday, the 31st. Georgia's first game of the season is going to be a night game kicking off at 6 o'clock. Now, 6 o'clock is the actual definition of a night game, okay, for Georgia. And, the Dogs, they have not played tons and tons of night games. I know people really get into night games, and that's fine, that's great, but I'll rant about that in a second. So we do know now four of the 12 regular season games that Georgia will play. We know where they are. There is a noon kickoff. Get past yourself. Get over yourself. The Ball State game will be a noon kickoff on SEC Network. So it's an exciting time of the year. We know Georgia and the Gators will be playing their usual time, which is Jacksonville, CBS, 3:30. The Tennessee Martin game is going to be a streaming game. You're not going to have this you cannot watch this on a regular television. If you have cable, you will not be getting this game. You have to have their streaming platform. You have been warned. But when you look at where Georgia's at with the schedule, it looks, the Florida game is, it's not a night game, but it ends at night. And then, there's a lot of opportunity here for some games that are either going to be noon or night. From here on out, so Georgia, week 1 and 2, for those of you who don't follow this the way I do, which is like a psychopath, their obligations are done in week 3. So, they've got what they have got from that point forward. Georgia can be on at, there are no restrictions. So, the Tennessee Martin game will be a night game. Ball State will be the Tennessee Martin game is mandated to be streaming. Okay, there's no other game Georgia plays that's, all these other games are conference games that are not designated for streaming. So like the UAB game, I think it's going to be very curious to see, and we won't know until the South Carolina week, where the UAB game is positioned. Because this year is one of the really weird years in media in terms of television, because it's the last year of the CBS deal with the SEC. It's the first year of the Big Ten's conglomerate with NBC, CBS, and Fox. And so there's some like moving parts that we won't have next year. So there's plenty left to kind of get used to, I guess you could say. But I like where this is at for Georgia personally. I mean, I don't think there's any other school. I mean, there's 3 schools that have a CBS game. Actually, it's more than that now that I think about it. But we know that of the normal CBS 3:30 window, Georgia's got the only 2 games that have been released. They're on both of them. So that's a big accomplishment for the Dogs and for Kirby and all of them, because there's not going to be a bigger audience than network television. And so playing those games at 3:30, that'll get a huge audience, and I think people will really like that, and they get their night game. Make sure you're getting our 2023 preview. I've been talking about this a lot. Last year I ran out of these, so get it while you can. If you pick up Double Dogs, which a lot of you are, you're getting this together at the same time. It comes in the same package. Got your guy Kirby on the back. You can pick this up at Red Zone. You get the free magazine there too, or you can just pick up the magazine at Red Zone downtown in Athens. Tell Scott and Mindy that we said hello when you go in there. They're not always there, but they're there the bulk of the time. So make sure that you're saying hello. But anyway, I think when you look at the schedule from here on out, you have to keep in mind that there are still a lot of opportunities for Georgia to play there's a lot of opportunities for Georgia to play games on CBS at the close of the season, or as the season goes on. And one thing to keep in mind too is that, and let me just get this on the screen here: 2023 SEC on CBS. The doubleheader is really those are the weekends to watch. So Saturday the 14th is a doubleheader. The SEC at noon and 3. And then the next week, no, I'm sorry. The next week they go they go Air Force Navy and then CBS. Like CBS is stacking these games. You can see where they're kind of going hard in a way that they didn't in the past. But anyway, there's a doubleheader on November 4th, which is obviously going to be LSU, Alabama. Georgia, Missouri is that day as well. I don't think that that's a great weekend, but I mean, like, that's not the ideal game. But if Georgia's the number one team in the country, they're going to have them. They're going to. So the doubleheader weekends are here. So let me try to get my brain together a little bit. So on the 14th of October, that's the weekend. I don't know why it says the 14th. That's the wrong weekend. They do this. You know what? I have the entire SEC schedule right here at the back of our season preview. So I will just take a look at this. October 14th, the doubleheader there. There's a lot of really good games. It will not be Georgia at Vanderbilt. But anyway, you've got Arkansas, Alabama. You've got LSU, Auburn. You got Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mizzou, and then Texas A&M, Tennessee. That's a really busy week in the league. And then the week of LSU, Alabama, which will be a 7:45 now. Now it's no longer at 8, whatever. So that 3:30 for Georgia would be Missouri. I don't. The other games aren't great either. It's Arkansas, Florida, Vanderbilt, Auburn. That was bad. Missouri, Georgia, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, which would probably be the one that would go there. Now, I don't know. We'll see. And then, the others, like Tennessee and South Carolina, playing really poor games those weeks. So we'll see. But, I mean, when you look at this, I think we're going to see a lot more later in the year. When you see Georgia, Tennessee on November 18th, there's not a lot of good games that weekend. I mean, that is clearly going to be Georgia, Tennessee on CBS. So the last, it won't be the last game. The last weekend will be probably Auburn, Alabama. We don't know that. Probably. I mean, it could be Florida State, Florida. I doubt it. It could be Texas A&M, LSU. I doubt it. And it could be Clemson, South Carolina. I doubt it. But maybe if South Carolina is like 9-2, and Clemson comes in 10-1 or something like that, they would totally take it then. But when the 23rd, that's not a great week. I mean, that's probably going to be Texas A&M, Auburn, or just quickly. That's not great. This is just not a great way. Well, probably LSU, Arkansas. Now that I look at no, it'll be Ole Miss or Alabama. But there's a lot of opportunities still for Georgia to jump on. The doubleheader weekends are not great for Georgia games. I mean, in the past, in the recent past, what CBS has done is they've stacked a pretty decent Georgia game with Auburn, with Alabama, LSU. They've used that to stack with the Georgia game. Maybe that's what they view Georgia, Missouri as. Anyway, got into the weeds a lot there. I think it's great for everybody that they're getting their night game. I would prefer Georgia just play noon games, frankly. Get in and get out. Night games are tough for a lot of reasons. They're a strain on the university. Getting out is much tougher at night, as everybody knows. But, I think for people in South Georgia or anything south of Macon, that makes for a really long night. And I just don't know. I mean, my guess is 60% of traffic to Athens, if not more, every single weekend is from Atlanta. So that's where the crowd's from. So night games, that's why you hear it from them. But if you're not, I think for me, um, night games are great, but you just want to play big games, and Georgia plays plenty of big games. They don't have to be at night. And I think that the noon games, which everybody seems to hate, look, you're not going to get your fantasy all the time, and it's just not going to happen. So get over it, get past yourself, and move on. It's okay to not have every single thing you want. But Georgia has given you your night game, and then a week later it will be at noon, and then you're off and running. 3:30 right after that. That's really good position to be in. Already we know 4 of Georgia's games. That's good to be in.